G'day, welcome back to another episode of Togl. Now, it was pointed out to me in last week's episode, I actually didn't show the final part of filtering out the wax. I think I know how that happened. I had a few issues with some of the earlier footage. I think I just forgot to put the last bit in, so I will endeavour to get that into this video, along with several other things we've been up to. So this one might be a little bit longer, we'll see. So Steve and Anita are back now, and they're just up here for the weekend. They're helping out before they sail back on Monday. Yesterday was a really big day up here. I was doing lots of milling up beams and panels, and I'm halfway through milling up floorboards, which I'll show you a little bit of that as well. But basically we were making all of the trusses and battens for putting up the roof onto this shed that we're building. So we'll head down here now and we'll go and see everyone, and then I'll get stuck into showing you some of the other stuff from last week as well, because I've still got to catch up on that, and as in catch up showing you guys that you guys need to catch up on it. Anyway, let's have a bit of a gander. All right, Cody's up here today too. So as I said, Steve's back, and the guys are just getting stuck into these beams.
Supervisors,
the foreman's over here. Yeah, foreman's making sure everything's above board and being done properly.
Correct.
Exactly. And so we're just we're just doing all of the boards up the top here, getting all that sorted. So I'll show you a bit more of that once we get a few more up there.
You made a mistake on all the rafters and you didn't cut them long enough.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't cut the rafters long enough because I changed my plans halfway through. So we've had to add extensions on, but that's all right because the extensions now become the little balcony out the front, and it all worked fine. Method to the madness. All right, I need to go up and do some more milling. Okay, we're just going to put the front top bar up on here. We've got it up on the tractor bucket. I'm going to pre-drill either end. We'll get that up, screw it in, and then I'll sort out the holes for the middle one. Well, the beam's up, but there's a very slight bow in that beam, so it's actually, what was it, Cody, 25 high?
Yeah, 25 mil.
Yeah, so it's about 25 mil higher at the centre post there. So we're just going to wrap a ratchet strap up and around, tighten that up, it'll pull that down, we'll get it right on level so it's dead straight, then we'll bolt that in. So we've already put the 2 bolts in this end, we had one up the other end, we only did one at the other end, so we had a pivot point for that whole log to pivot on. We don't want to put the 2 in, so we put the 1 in, we adjusted this end, it's right, we put 2 in. Now we'll get the centre correct, put 2 in, and we'll put the other 1 in up the end, we'll be good. And now we'll just, Cody's gone to grab the chainsaw, I'll lift him up on the express elevator again. He can trim the top of all the logs off nice and neat. Then we're going to head up and start some milling, we need more timber. All the way down, and all the way down.
This your video? Yeah. Here, Vanessa. Safety.
She's going to ask you where your earplugs are. Alrighty. The other two will have to do with the ladder because can't get the tractor around the back. But I've been meaning to tell you guys, I don't know if anyone was observant enough to notice that several episodes ago I got a really good new chainsaw. So this is a Stihl Farm Boss, and as you just saw, like a hot knife through butter. It's a cracker. It cuts beautifully. I basically got this because the other two chainsaws I had were getting a bit long in the tooth, starting to have a few little issues. I just couldn't rely on them. And up here, I need, if I'm going to spend the time to come up here, I need equipment I can rely on, because I can't be having to go half an hour back into town, mucking around and coming back up. I just can't afford to lose a few hours. Every minute counts, basically. So, yeah. The Stihl Farm Boss, went and saw the guys down in Burnie at Northwest Mowers. They actually gave me some really good tips a while back about sharpening up the chainsaw blade, and I got a few little bits of tools and a new chain off them a while back. So I thought I'd go and see them, because why not go local? And they're a really good group of guys and girls down there, and heaps of information, heaps of support. And that was the big thing I wanted, was the support, you know. At least I know I can take that back. I've bought it from them. I can get it serviced there. If anything goes wrong, straight back to those guys. And they're really friendly. So anyway, yeah, really happy with that chainsaw. It's fantastic. So we'll get these other two knocked off. I won't film that. And then we're going to go up. We're going to start doing some milling. We need more framework for here. We're probably going to cut the... We'll probably start cutting some floorboards, I think. We've got the logs there for the floorboards. I've got 4 metre logs, and I need some 5 metre logs, or even 5.5 metre logs, because probably I need the one really. I want that to make roof beams. So this roof, the height at the back was 216. The height at the front we've made 206, so it's just going to slope to the front, 10 centimetre fall. Nice flat roof, very similar to what we did up on the barn for over the, or the roof for over the mill. But it is 4 metres wide. So if we go to 5.5 and have that extra hang out the front, gives us a little bit of a balcony out the front. So that's the plan. I'll need to cut another log for that. So we'll go up, we'll use the 4 metres, we'll mill up some floorboards, we'll see how we go. Okay, so we've just quickly milled up this very short log. This is actually one of the short logs that came off the end of the big gum tree that we had taken down at the start of the year. And yeah, milled up really nicely too. So we're going to rip this top edge off. We'll get all the others in a couple at a time, rip the top edge off. We'll get them all in, sitting all nice and flat, upright. One cut, bang, take the whole lot off at 8 inches. That'll give us some beams that are 2 inches by 8 inches. Now these are a little over 2 metres long. These are going to be the spaces that go in between each one of those boards you saw me putting in the other week. So they need to be about 45 centimetres long each one, so we'll get a couple out of each. Anyway, so we're just going to get these milled up, and then if time permits you'll see us down there, and we'll start putting some of them in. Okay, so what we've been cutting is these lovely bits of wood. I've got to say, it's very satisfying to be able to take a lump of wood out of a tree, mill it into slabs, use the saw, cut it, and have this beautiful piece of timber. Amazing. Really, really cool. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of you would realise that it's very hard to wear a dust mask or a mask. We've all had to wear them, and glasses, because your glasses fog up. So up at the mill, it's a much finer dust, so I need the dust mask. And my face from the blade, the distance is a lot further. Here, the sawdust is a lot coarser, and my face is a lot closer to that blade, which means I need to worry about kickback, little bits of stuff flicking back, not kickback, but stuff flicking back. So hence why up there I was wearing a mask and no glasses. Down here I'm wearing a glasses and no mask. I got to tell you too, this timber, gosh, just smells so nice. Lovely fresh cut timber. Anyway, so these are the spaces that are going to go in between all of the boards, right down the center, and just help those boards hold. Now I know when we put the floorboards on, they all get screwed down, they're going to be held anyway, but this will just help keep them in place until we get the floorboards on there, because they're still exposed to the weather. They're going to get wet, the sun's going to bake them, so yeah, we just need to get all these put in. So we've probably got just enough time to get maybe half of these put in. We'll get stuck onto that now. Well, it's getting pretty dark, but we did get it all finished. So yeah, we managed to get all of those pieces in, which is fantastic. There is actually one left, but we need it to be a little bit longer because they're out a little bit. But anyway, that's great, that's done. We got the top beam up. Pretty happy with today's efforts. Along with all that, we got stuff watered, we got new plants done, watered the grapes, watered the olives, actually milled the timber for that. So we've actually had a really productive day today. We've got a lot done. So and a lot of that's thanks to Cody for helping me out today too. But it is getting dark. It's time we quickly packed up, head home for some dinner. Oh, back up here on the block again this morning. Steve's putting some guttering on up the front for me, which is great. The guys did a really good job yesterday. They got a lot done. I'll show you the roof in a minute. Cody's bringing down the tin. We've just been up there at the pile of tin, sorting out all the pieces we want. He's just dragging that down now. The guys are going to get some roofing put up whilst I'm doing some more milling. I need to start milling the battens to start getting some walls done. But let me show you this roof up here. So they've done a bloody good job, really good job. It just looks amazing. That's just a walking plank, this big thick one, when Cody was up there yesterday putting all the battens on. But yeah, all the roof's in place now, and the fascia went on yesterday so that the gutter could be attached. As I said, Steve's just putting the gutter on now. Just all second-hand stuff that we've managed to acquire along the way. Most of it free, which is awesome. Needs help and hold the other end. Spirit level is in the gutter so that we can get the angle right, and a big pile of tin as well. So yeah, I'm going to go and put the kettle on, give everyone a cuppa for Mornos, and I'm going to start doing some milling myself. Just one other thing I thought of too. So the plan was I was going to mill up the floorboards, put all the floorboards in, but this tree being a bit green, even though those logs are beautiful and straight, as I'm milling, it's cracking. As you saw in one of the other videos, but twisting really badly too. So instead of it, you know, just running along straight like this, I'm finding that they're starting to bow like that. I'm never going to get the edges straight, so I think for the floor I might need to concede and just buy some paneling for the floor. But we're going to get the roof on, the walls and everything up first. That way it's all nice and dry, so that when I do bring paneling in, it's going straight into a dry shed. It's not going to be out in the weather for any length of time. So this is the log that I'm going to put on the timber mill next. Cody's just about to bring the tractor up, but what I'll do is I will roll this log, roll it over those straps, then I can pick the straps up. These are proper lifting straps Steve introduced me to. They're bloody handy, so that's what I'm using now, rather than drilling holes and putting eyelets in and that sort of thing to lift them.
All the way through. It's just a bit tighter now because it does have a slight cut in left of it like that.
Yeah. Okay. Bring the tractor in. Bring the tractor in. We'll lift this up through, and I'll do my best to film that. Okay, so now what we want to do is I lift this strap up through here, and then I'm going to put a bar in under that. Cody's going to come and put that bar through. Right through there like that. We need to readjust the straps, get it level, only one side's lifting up. Okay, that wasn't working out the front there. We had too much slack. So what we've done is we've wrapped the purple strap, as you can see, across the back. And so now it should be a shorter lift, should lift up straight, give her a crack. We've readjusted the straps so that it should lift evenly, yep. There we go. All right, so now we can get this into the timber mill. Lower, lower.
That damn light.
Whoop, that'll be good. Well, it has been a big couple of days. The roof is on, and we're all feeling it. And it's a little grey if you have a bit of a look around. I think we might end up getting a bit of rain this afternoon, I'm not sure, but to be honest, we're knackered. We've all put in a couple of very big days, as I said. So let's go down and have a look at the roof. Like I said, the guys have done a fantastic job. Let's go and have a look.
I'll grab another one.
I've got to pre-drill it and everything.
Where do you want it, on the drop saw or just?
No, it's right length.
Oh,
So this is
I can take the shot.
really cool to have this undercover in here. And still got lots of timber now to do the walls with, because this is all the timber that I milled up in the last day or so. Actually, most of this was milled up this morning. So we're just going to work this out and start building some walls. But if the weather turns much more, I think we'll be just packing up.
Because I'm bugging and I'm on holidays.
Exactly. Okay, the first lot is all boiled down, and would you believe it, I've got a bee in the shed. That's what I mean, like it will attract them through. So even with everything closed up in this shed, that bee's managed to smell it and find a way through and get into the shed. That's how strong the smell of this is for attracting the bees in. Anyway, I've given it a good stir, and I'm pretty confident that there is no more solid lumps of wax in there. It's all melted down. So what we want to do now is I want to hold the center down to make sure that it doesn't run off everywhere. That there, that's pure beeswax coming off. I don't know if you can see that, but that is just bright yellow. That's just the pure beeswax running off the top. Now there's some darker colors coming out, and that's all of this gunk. You can see all this gunk in there. That's what we're going to be trying to filter out. So let's start getting that in there. Something with a better spout would be good as well, because this is running backwards down to the base of the pot, which is not good. Okay. Be careful not to splash yourself. This stuff is hot. Hot wax, you know, it's going to burn. Okay, so the wax and the water and other fluids are all draining through into that cold water that was in the bottom, cooling down. It will actually get the water quite hot because a lot's going to go through there. I can feel the warmth in that now. But I want that to all strain through. And all of this other brown goopy stuff, like I said, that's just, you know, unhatched bees, other bits and pieces of gunk and branch, like, you know, little bits of wood that might have been in there, all sorts of things that end up in the beehive and end up in the wax. It's all that stuff that's in there. But you do get that brood, the unhatched brood sometimes that's in there. Although that top box that I had no brood in it because we had a queen excluder, so there were no eggs up there. It's just a lot of gunk. It would have been linings. So the bees will make that wax cell, and that cell will get lined. And that's why the older the wax comb is, the darker it gets, because they keep putting a lining after a lining after a lining on it. And that's what a lot of this gunk is. And now it looks like I've got 2 bees flying around in here. I'm just turning this over to try and help the wax drain through out of all this gunk. What I will do next though, once I think it's all drained as much as going to drain through, I can't hear any more draining through, but whilst it's still nice and warm, I'll go and boil the kettle, and then I'll just pour boiling water through it as well, just to try and flush every little bit of wax out that I can. Okay, that water's boiling now. What I found though, that bucket was getting quite warm, so I've got a tub of cold water to sit the bucket into. And that will just make sure that I don't damage the bucket. Okay. Even as I do this, I'm still thinking of other ways that I might be better able to do this process. And I've already come up with a couple of ideas just in the last half hour, so stay tuned for those. You might see them in upcoming episodes. But now that we've got this water boiled, I just want to pour that over. Now there's a lot of wax that's seeped up into the cotton, so I'm just trying to get that to wash out first, because I know that's pure wax. I now think there's several bees in the garage. I can hear them buzzing around. You might be able to hear them too. So now I want to melt the last of the wax into that little bit of left. I've just left about that much water in there. And as I said, I want that on a really low heat now. But I can start putting these blocks in. Alright, now we'll just wait for that to melt down. What I will do though, I'll go and grab a spoon or something and I will scrape all of this out, get that out before I put the next lot in. Then once it's all gone nice and cold, I'm just going to check it. If it falls apart easily, I know there's not much wax left in there at all, so I'll just ditch it into the compost bin or something. But if it's still setting into blocks, like a conglomerate of sorts, then what I'll do is probably run more hot water through it again and try and flush a bit more wax out of it. As I always say, you're working with really hot fluid, so be careful. A little bit just splashed on my finger, I felt that. And a little bit, I fixed the spout, but it started pouring fine and then a little bit ran down the base and off into the cold water in the tub. And instantly set into wax. Well, it was wax, but it just instantly set. It went from liquid to solid. So, and that's that beautiful yellow colour wax that I'm saying you'll get out. All the other colours, just it's all the other gunk that's in there, and you filter all that out, you're left with that pure yellow wax again. So now I just need to get a bit more water, boil it so I can tip it through, rinse a bit more out of that. I'll let that cool, and then we'll come back out later on this evening. Once everything's cooled down, I'll remove the cotton off the top and I'll show you, hopefully, we'll see how much wax is in there. Hopefully we've got a decent amount of wax, but yeah, I'll show you that later on this evening. For now, like I said, I'm just going to finish up this last little bit, then I'm going to go and relax, have some dinner, and we'll come out later on. Okay, well, had a rest, it's been a couple of hours, had some dinner, whatnot. Time to unveil this. Now I can see right on the top here that there is actually wax that's formed on top of all of this sludgy stuff. So there's definitely more wax in there that can be got out, but I'll do that on another day. And it might even come out in a fairly big block. Yeah, which indicates that there's still a lot of wax. Yeah, look at that. That's coming off in one big piece. So, still a little bit warm. But you can see in there, this is wax. Little blobs of wax that have formed on the top. Get that into focus, there we go. And underneath as well, you can see the wax in there. So I need to remelt this basically. Like I said, I'll boil that again, wash it through with some hot water, try and flush some more wax out of that. but that can be done another day. And it sounds like the dogs are going off down the back. That's the neighbour's dogs. Alright, let's get the last few bits of this off. And then we can have a look and see what's in the bucket. So for that I might bring the camera over, I think. Okay, let's take this off and have a look. Okay, so there's a bit of wax in there, as you can see, and this is what happens, is that the wax will settle on the top. So now I just need to pop this out. Well, that's nowhere near as much wax as I thought we were going to get out of there, but this is what we're looking at. And I'll be honest, with the weight of that container, I actually thought there would have been more wax. But obviously a lot of what the weight I was feeling was a lot of that gunk. There was more gunk in there than I thought, and probably some honey as well. But still, that's not bad. So what needs to be done now is I can boil that down again a second time and then filter it out again and end up with really nice blocks of wax. And what I often do as well is I pour them into these little silicone ice cube trays because they're rubbery, and then I can just pop them out, and that's how I make those little cubes of wax. It just makes them easier to melt down. But yeah, that is the process of making wax. That's quite a thick block right there. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed seeing how we make the wax there. Like I said, it's just one more little step from that. Basically remelt that down and pour it into little cubicles, little ice cubes or whatever. So that's how we render out the wax. Okay, so as promised, back in the kitchen here. And I've just finished rinsing off these blackberries. We've got quite a few. So I rinsed them off in a colander and just strain off some of that water. Now, most of these were picked roadside, but this lot here, they actually came from the backyard. I just went down and picked them half an hour ago, because we do have a blackberry vine down in the backyard here at the rental as well. So quite probably be 1.5 kilos of berries there, I reckon. So what we're going to do is we'll get them over here on the heat. We'll just put it onto a low heat and we'll get them started. Helps if I turn the right hot plate on. Thought it was getting a bit warm, I turned on the front one, not the back one. Alright, that's quite a lot, but they will stew down and reduce, and then as all the juices come down, I'll let that just steam for a while, reduce that liquid down a lot more, get it nice and syrupy. So I've got that on the heat. Now the other thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add some plums that came off of our plum tree down there. So I'll grab them. I need to get the seeds out of those, get them in as well. Now the plums, some are sweet, some are quite tart. Blackberries, most of them are quite tart. So just to sweeten it up a bit, I'm going to use a heap of our fresh honey that we got out of the bees the other day as well. So it'll be plums, blackberries and honey. We'll get all that reduced down nicely, nice and thickened up. If need be, I can always add a little bit of corn flour to thicken it up as well. But if I cook it slowly and reduce it down enough, I won't need to worry about that. And then we'll get it into the pastry. I'll get onto that in a second. So these are the plums that I got off of the tree. You know, it's funny, you go to the supermarket and the fruit, every piece of fruit's pretty much identical. It's all grown to that, and often the fruit doesn't have any flavour, but it looks good. It's all exactly the same. This is what real homegrown stuff should look like. All different sizes, all different shapes, little marks and blemishes. But you know what? This is the stuff that tastes awesome, as anyone who's grown their own food at home would know. I find the best way with these is just find the crease that's in it and slice around that. All the way around, because that's the way that the seed lies in the fruit. Then you just twist. You end up with the two halves, one with a seed, one without. I'm just going to quarter these. So the other part that's got the seed, now just cut the quarter and twist again. You get the piece without the seed, but now you've got 3/4 of the seed out. You can just grab the seed, twist it out, pop it over in the compost, there we go. So I'm going to keep running through all these. I'll get all of these plums into that mixture as well. Now we have all those plums in there, all quartered, and then I just need to basically stir this around. I'll bring the blackberries up a bit, and then I'm going to get a lid on this and just let it really slowly simmer away and stew down. But I got to tell you, this smells amazing. And then I'll add the honey a little later on once it's stewed down a little bit. So you can see how this is reducing now. It's all settling down in, and you can see there's lots of fluid coming out. This fluid, it'll all end up being like a really thick sauce. So you can see the steam coming off. It's really just a case of a very slow simmer. You don't want to burn anything onto the bottom, but so long as there's steam coming out, it means there's moisture being removed from the whole lot. The more moisture we remove, the thicker the syrup will be, and then I won't need to use any corn flour. So I'm just going to keep letting that simmer away. Now that it's up to temperature, I think I'll just leave the lid off so that more steam can escape. If it cools off too much, I can always put the lid back on, because the lid does have a hole to let the steam out anyway. But we'll just see how it goes. As long as it keeps steaming, I'll be happy. Okay, so that's stewing down beautifully. You can see now when you're looking on the top, it just looks like fluid. You can't even see any of the solids. They're in there, but yeah, this is thickening up nicely. And I'm just going to keep letting that just simmer away very slowly there. I want that to reduce even more, but I think we're ready to put some honey in now. So this is some of the honey that we got out of our beehive. I reckon about half a tub should make it nice and sweet. Let's get some of that in there. And this one's a really thick honey too. One of the hives had quite a thick honey. The other one was a lot thinner and clearer, whereas this is a little bit more cloudy and thick. Still tastes beautiful though. This is the one I've been having on my breakfast of a morning. Very nice. I probably could just tip it in, but we're almost got half there now. One more spoon, I reckon. If you're going to have dessert, you may as well make it sweet. Alright, that should do it. I'm just trying to dissolve all the honey off that spoon. Get every last little bit in there. It's looking amazing. A lot of the plum the chunks have dissolved right down as well. So there's no major chunks of plum. That one's a bit bigger. So yeah, now we just need to keep reducing this, and once it's down to a level that I think it's going to be nice and thick in the pot, and it will thicken as it cools as well, but that's alright. I mean, once it goes into the pie and gets baked, if it's served hot, it'll be a bit runnier again. So I want to get it nice and thick, but I do need to try it as well. The edge has gone off it. I reckon I could even put a bit more honey in. But I guess if I'm going to serve it with ice cream, which is sweet anyway, I might just leave it as is. So yeah, we're just going to let that keep simmering away, let some more of that moisture come out of it, and then we're going to get the pastry sorted out and we'll get it into some pie dishes. Right, now we're at the point where I need to start getting our pastry sorted. Yeah, I'm cheating. I'm just going to use the store-bought stuff. I haven't got time to go making up pastry. Maybe on another video. So I want to get the oven preheated. This is still stewing down. And then I want to get some of these sheets out to thaw. So it says to leave these out of room temperature for about 15 minutes to let them thaw. Then what I'm going to do is I'll align these two dishes with the pastry. Fill it with, I think I've got some rice in there. I don't have any baking weights. I might have to get some. But I'll fill it with some rice and paper and then rice. You'll see. Bake it. I'm just using a short crust pastry. And that means that you'll hopefully get a better crust on the bottom. If I just laid this pastry in and put the fruit in on top, it will just stay soggy. It really needs to bake first and then put the fruit in. It's still going to go soggy, but it's going to be a better soggy. So I'll get all that sorted, and then we'll have to put lids on them, and then we'll get them baked. One will probably eat fresh over the next couple of days, the other one I'll freeze. Let's get these open and start them thawing. It's funny how they always give you an odd number of sheets. There's 5 sheets. With those dishes I'm going to need 2, one for the bottom, one for the top. It'd be better if they gave us either 4 or 6 sheets. Alright, so it's got plastic on the bottom, so I can pop that right there. Okay, so we'll take a look at these. Just popped them out of the oven. They've been in there baking, what they call a blind bake. So I actually sat one dish inside the other one as the weight to hold it down, and that's actually turned out pretty good. So we've got our pie crust in there. The other one I had the rice in. That's not looking too bad either. So now we'll just let them cool. I need to keep reducing this fruit down. Once it's reduced down and cooled down, then we will pop this in and get a lid put onto it. Okay, so it's been a few hours. We've reduced this right down and then let it cool. And as we've cooled it, it's thickened up as well. So nice and thick now. Now we'll get it into the pie dishes that we've pre-baked. Then we can get lids on them. And for the lids, I'll just use another 2 sheets of this pastry, which I could have had thawed out, but I haven't, so I'm just going to lay it over the top of them and let them thaw out right in place. So we'll come back and look at them once they've thawed out in 15 minutes. So the pies are done. Pastry lids on top, we'll pop them in the oven, get them all crispy. Oh, they're looking pretty damn cool. Speaking of cool, that's what we need to do, let them cool down. So we're just going to leave them sit here now. We'll let them cool down. We're not going to tuck into them right now. And I think I need to go and get some vanilla ice cream for these. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. We'll see you then. Right, so it's been 24 hours. Left the pie in the fridge. What I intend to do now is I'll slice this up and heat each piece individually, because that way we don't have to heat the whole pie up again. So we'll have a look and see how this turned out on the inside. Steve and Anita are back, so they're going to have some. Back from their little trip around. The filling's still a little bit soft, but I'm sure it's going to taste awesome. Give us a look at that. Give us a look at that bowl. Hey?
I just
And what do you put some on the ice cream?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. How does that taste?
I'll let you know in a minute.
Because it's got to cool down.
Hang on, ice cream.
Good? Good stuff.
Tastes good.
Alright, we'll keep getting everyone else's ready.